Super Typhoon Yagi kills 2, injures 92 in China.
Israeli army withdraws from West Bank city of Jenin.
Border dormitory gives wings to the poor students.
Welcome to today's news. My name is Nguyễn Thị and I will be your guide through today's latest update. After first striking Wenchang in Hanam, Super Typhoon Yagi makes its second landfall in Truyen County, Guangdong Province, China, with winds still reaching level 17 intensity. Nearly 1 million people was evacuated and over 800,000 households experienced power outage.
Super Typhoon Yagi killed at least 2 people and injured 92 others after slamming into southern China's Hainan Island with heavy rain and strong winds. Super Typhoon Yagi caused 800,000 households in China without electricity. Strong winds continuously reached 234 km per hour. Many cars were crushed by fallen trees. The debris flew all over the streets of Haikou City. In Hainan Island, 89 tourist attractions have been temporarily closed to avoid the storm. Roads, bridges and tunnels have been temporarily closed in many cities. The cleanup operations are underway. Earlier, more than 1 million people in Hainan and Guangdong provinces were evacuated to avoid Typhoon Yagi. Nearly 85,000 fishing boats took shelter in ports. After sweeping across southern China, Typhoon Yagi moved towards the coast of the 2 provinces and cities of Quang Ninh and Haiphong in Vietnam.
U.S. President Joe Biden's administration is engaged in urgent discussion with Congress to allow it to use up $6 billion in military aid for Ukraine before September 30 deadline.
The Presidential Drawdown Authority (PDA), a key component of a $61 billion aid package for Ukraine passed in April, allows the president to transfer defense equipment from National Reserve in response to emergencies. PDA has been the primary mechanism the Biden administration has used to ship weapons to Ukraine. However, most of the $7.8 billion in the bill that Biden signed into law in April has not been used, leaving officials scrambling to find a way to keep the remaining $6 billion from expiring as the September 30th deadline, the end of the 2024 fiscal year, approaches. The State Department hopes to attach an extension of the PDA authorities based on a short-term emergency spending bill that the Senate and House of Representatives must pass this month to avoid government shutdown on September 30th.
The Israeli army withdrew from the city of Jenin and its refugee camp after a 10-day operation that left 36 deaths across the occupied West Bank.
After days of destructive incursions by soldiers backed by armored vehicles and bulldozers, residents began returning to their homes. On August 28, the Israel Army launched a military operation in several cities and towns of the northern West Bank, including Jenin. Israeli military announced that over the course of the operation in Jenin, Israeli forces killed 14 militants, arrested 30 suspects, dismantled approximately 30 explosives planted under roads, and conducted 4 aerial strikes. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, since the Gaza war began on October 7, Israeli troops or settlers have killed at least 661 Palestinians in the West Bank.
Coming up next are some updated news.
On the morning of September 7th, at the government's regular meeting in August 2024, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh said that the government has established a forward command in Haiphong to direct storm prevention and control over Yagi. The head of government requested ministers, heads of ministerial-level agencies, government agencies to directly direct storm prevention and overcome the consequences of Typhoon Yagi in accordance with the spirit of the Prime Minister's telegrams. Typhoon Yagi slammed into northern coastal areas of Quang Ninh Province and Haiphong City at noon on September 7, packing winds from 134 to 149 km per hour. The National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting has issued a Level 4 natural disaster risk warning out of the 5 levels for Haiphong and Quang Ninh, the areas most affected by the storm. In Quang Ninh and Haiphong, widespread power outage were recorded in many localities, while trees and electric poles were brought down by strong winds.
On September 6, at Trang Bom train station, Dong Nai, leaders of Petro Vietnam Gas Corporation, PV Gas, and Vietnam Railways Corporation, VNR, launched the first LNG, liquefied natural gas, train from the south to the north. This is an important milestone for the gas industry in Vietnam. According to PV Gas, these 16 LNG tanks, about 300 tons of LNG, will be brought to Dong An Station, Hanoi within 3 days. The event of the train carrying 16 LNG tanks from the south to the north marked PV Gas's completion of the gas energy supply chain by pipeline, waterway, road and rail, creating a comprehensive, flexible and widespread energy supply system throughout the entire territory of Vietnam.
During a meeting with Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh on September 6, SpaceX's Vice President Tim Hughes expressed strong interest in offering Starlink satellite internet services in Vietnam to enhance education, training, and disaster prevention efforts. Mr. Tim Hughes praised Vietnam's national internet coverage program. He urged Vietnam to prepare the necessary infrastructure and conditions to ensure the project's success, which would help extend internet access to all citizens. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh welcomed SpaceX's proposal and expressed optimism that this idea would soon become a reality.
In order to create conditions for poor students in remote area, Nghệ An Border Guard, in cooperation with local authority, built and repaired dormitory to meet the living and studying conditions of poor border students. This model has been effectively implemented in Tâm Quang Commune, Tương Dương District.
Entering the 2024-2025 school year, 40 poor students in remote villages of Tam Quang Commune were provided with accommodation and meals at the dormitory which was built by Tam Quang Border Guard Station. The dormitory was renovated from a degraded classroom of Tam Quang Primary School. We repaired and painted the existing facility, making bunk beds for the children, called for material support such as cabinets, desks, blankets, mosquito nets and guided the children to follow the unit's rules. To implement the model, Tam Quang Border Guard Station mobilized organizations and individuals to support construction costs of over 300 million Vietnamese dongs, and directly built and repaired the dormitory. The completed dormitory is a place for accommodation, activities and study for students from poor families in Tan Hong and Tung Hong villages. Currently, Tam Quang Border Guard Station continues to mobilize benefactors to support and improve the quality of meals and living conditions for poor students. People of the two villages thank the border guards. Before, the children's family did not have the conditions, but this year many children have been given the opportunity to study. The border dormitory model not only helps poor students in border areas but also strengthens solidarity and cohesion between the border guard and ethnic people.
It's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching and see you next time.